And we are back to Lucky Time Explosion with our guest, Wizard Skull.
Wow.
Yes, welcome to a special episode.
So yeah, you've been busy, you've been traveling, you've been doing your things.
Yes.
And I heard you made a lot of paintings. How many paintings did you make?
I made 54 acrylic paintings on canvas this year.
Damn.
So I try to make better paintings every year. I think that's kind of my main goal. Every year I make like 40 to 100 paintings. And then the number is like a meaningless metric to just make it sound like I'm doing something.
Sounds busy. 54 is quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a quality over quantity.
Yes.
That's important.
Yes. Eventually your work will be photorealistic.
But art is so
within a year.
subjective, you can't really promote yourself with quality.
I guess.
So, like, if you say 54, that sounds more impressive than you saying, like, these are really good paintings, everybody.
Right. I suppose so. I don't know. I'm like on the fence as to whether I still believe art is subjective or not. Like, I think there is some objective qualifiers, a little bit, but I really like your flowers.
Thank you.
I literally love your little still life flower ones. I
Yes.
need to get one of those.
You've been painting some flowers.
I have been painting flowers, but that's probably why I like yours. I guess art is subjective. Fuck.
Son of a bitch.
I just got myself.
Yeah, part of the motivation for going to flowers is I always think about people identify with symbols, and a lot of people think I do a lot of cartoons like Simpsons and stuff and like, oh, that's a cheat to like get popular quick. But when you think about the amount of people who actually like cartoons, it's such a small subculture. And when you start thinking about painting recognizable symbols, your art can appeal to such a greater audience. And I always think like I could just paint the sun and the moon, and then everyone in the entire world can relate to that painting in some way.
Right. But like this, in a way, kind of Bart Simpson is like the new sun and the moon. I think a lot of people, it's like the most popular long-running shows of all time. I get what you're saying. It's like, I think that was kind of the idea of pop art, right? Too.
Yeah.
And the idea of like taking pop culture symbols. And like we were talking about earlier, pop culture is like also changing really a lot. And and like we're not having such a mainstream culture anymore. Things are more divided up. So like,
Everyone has a chance.
yeah, it's an interesting thing, but I agree. I think Bart Simpson's like could be considered like the new Fleur de Lis or something.
I think so, yeah, because I was listening to this podcast with Lorne Michaels from Saturday Night Live, and he was doing a sitcom on NBC in the 70s. And if they had under 40 million viewers, it was considered horrible ratings.
Wow.
And now, like, SNL, I think, gets like 7 million. That's considered really good.
Right.
And it's kind of the same for like characters like Simpsons or Disney. All that stuff that existed pre-internet has such a wider reach than anything that comes out now.
That's really true. I mean, like, I was kind of like, oh man, we've been at this podcast for a while. We're in episode we're getting close to episode 70. Right. And I'm like, oh man, we only have like this many 100 followers on, on YouTube, or this many people listening.
And if you're not subscribed, then click the subscribe button now.
Click the bell. Click subscribe. Sorry, I sound a little hoarse. I'm sick. But I was explaining to somebody, I was like, yeah, we only have this many. And they're like, that's really good. But you know how many people, because everyone has a podcast. So they were like, oh, if you have more than like 40 views, like you're doing pretty well. And I'm like, that can't be true. And then I look at some like famous people who have their own podcast, and I'm looking at their numbers and I'm like, God damn. Like, I know who this person is. They're famous. And I think we're like on par with them. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, it is a new paradigm.
Yeah.
Like,
I always thought that my project, Grandpa's Playpen, would be huge. I was wrong.
Yeah.
I think maybe it will pick up in the future after I'm dead or something, because
Maybe.
it's for people who are dumber. So we're all getting dumber. So eventually, like, Grandpa's Playpen will be like the next fucking like Bible or something. I don't know.
I don't know. Do you think we're getting dumber?
We're not.
What's dumb is easiest to understand, and what's easy to understand makes it to the top.
I like that. Being concise and intelligent will get you there too.
Yeah, I think so, because like there's so many things online now. I remember when I first got Instagram, I think I probably had more followers than like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah.
Because no one was really using social media at the time.
Right.
And now like everybody uses it. So if you can get like 2 seconds of someone's attention. That's like a big accomplishment.
Right.
It's true. I mean, I look at the retention rates for our videos. You know, you look at analytics and you're like, oh, wow, people are watching an average of like 24 seconds of my, 3-minute reel. That's amazing.
Most of the people that watch us just have ADHD.
Yeah, because they can relate.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just like, all right, 20 seconds, next. 20 seconds, next.
Yeah, it's true. I've taken a new approach for like my TikTok, which might be banned in January, which I don't really care. I actually don't care. I think TikTok is.
Okay, there's so many more new ones like
Yeah.
Blue Sky.
It'll be
and-
something else. I have my biggest audience there, but like I still don't care. like go ahead, I guess. There's a Redditor who said America needs TikTok like I need another pimple on my ass. And I was like, well, it has bred a certain kind of insanity on there. And it's got that personal algorithm pigeonhole disease that we all have. It's really helping to push that. But I forgot what my original point was even. Just that, that I decided I needed to reduce the time of my videos down to a minute.
It's true. Like I've looked at some of my videos that have gotten like 1 million views, and I look at they're 90 seconds long, and the majority of people watch them 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. One thing I'm kind of thinking about this next year is I want to do maybe YouTube or something that is background noise.
Oh yeah.
Because on Instagram you watch a reel, your whole phone is just that reel. You can't do anything else.
And you're like,
Yeah.
Well, I also see our attention spans are like not just getting shorter, but they're changing because long form content on YouTube is getting more popular. Mm-hmm. Like there's like that Wendigoon video that is 9 hours long. And it's all of his like conspiracy theory iceberg videos smashed into one big video. And I actually watched it for 9 hours. I watched it from start to big.
Wow.
Yeah, I turned it on at like 9 a.m. No, I couldn't sleep. And I turned it on at like 4 a.m. on one of my days off. And I just left it on and I wrapped it up around 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And I was like, holy shit, I just actually watched this whole thing straight. I mean, I did other things.
That's
I made
dedication.
food. I got up and I made food and maybe I drew a little bit. Like I did some other stuff, but it was like on for 9 hours and I was mostly paying attention. And I feel like I see a lot more long form stuff coming out too. So maybe it's just like polarizing, not getting shorter. But yeah, you got it for a lot of content. It's got to be short and sweet. Unlike this is a long format too. Podcasts, like I realized that our episodes being 30 minutes was too short. This is kind of background noise for somebody listening. Like, whoever's listening right now, I hope your eggs aren't burning. Like,
Here's some brown noise.
Making a beautiful painting while you listen, please.
yeah, I hope you're painting.
I usually need a little something as I'm creating artwork. I need some music. I need some background noise. I also have bad tinnitus, so I need something at all times. I just hear laser beams all day that no one else can hear. You have tinnitus?
No.
Huh. I can never say I enjoy the sound of silence ever again. I can't just sit out in the middle of a forest and be like, oh, the trees. No, it'd be like, oh, the trees and a UFO beam.
Like,
Oh, yeah. It's in stereo.
yeah, my wife has that too, and she needs to like have white noise on when she's sleeping. So like, if she goes to bed first, then I'll come to bed and I'll hear just like the loudest like
Be
rain.
stuck in a fucking jet stream. Like,
It's like a background of like rain, the cabin, like a 10-hour long video on YouTube of like rain on a cabin.
I usually use.
And it's like, but it's so loud. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to like turn it down. And then she like wakes up and is like, oh, what's going on?
Me and my girlfriend use 10 hours of babies crying.
Yeah.
They're just like, and I'm like, this is
You're
it.
a
This
sick
is the
man,
life.
Morgan.
I don't even have a baby. I don't need one. I got 10 hours of 10 kids screaming at once on YouTube.
So wait, what's a Wizard Skull like 10-hour video gonna look like? Long form video gonna look like? Like some background ASMR?
I started this thing where I was going to start skateboarding again.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
I saw you.
Fuck
You're ripping
yeah.
it up.
Thank you. And I was trying to make like 20, 30-minute videos 30 days in a row going and getting a trick. And I filmed a lot of it, but then I came back to New York and I'm like, it's so cold. I can't motivate myself to do it. And now to go back and edit it, I'm not even motivated to edit it.
Editing is the worst part.
Yeah.
Of any kind of media venture. Editing's the toughest part. They don't get enough credit. Editors. We see you. We
Thank
hear
you,
out
Brandon.
there.
Thank you for making Lucky Time Explosion possible.
Finally. I've been waiting. What other kind of like long form stuff or YouTube? Would it be like skating? Kind of going back to that.
It was the way I filmed it was like day in a life. So it'd be like skateboarding. It'd be like me making art, talking about art. But then it was 30 days, so it got really repetitive.
Right.
I could see that happening.
It's really. Do you ever like bank your content up to put out later?
Yeah, that's
like
what
your
I did,
draft?
and then I never put it out.
Sounds familiar.
Hey, then
We're
we
in the
should
same situation.
we should buy it off you to put on our Patreons. Special content. There you go. Exclusive content. Yeah, which actually, if you like the show, if you're listening, check out our Patreon. We have $3 and $5 tiers. $5, you get your name listed in the end of the video, and Morgan uploads a bunch of really disturbing, weird short films for you to watch that you can't see anywhere else. So
Yeah.
check that shit out.
Yeah, and you can rent me as a slave for a day for $1,000. That's a new Patreon. I'll do whatever you want. You just can't kill me.
Bummer.
Use what Mama gave me. You got this body, you got to use it.
So how do we keep you in New York, Wizard Skull? How do we keep you?
We got to change the temperature.
Yeah. just make
I
it-
don't know. I mean, New York is the best place to be if you're an artist, I think.
Still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like LA. For me, it's a little different because I was going out there already kind of established.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I couldn't really find the younger people or DIY scene.
Right. But why are you trying to if you're more established, aren't you?
It's exciting to see that stuff.
It is cool to
I don't want to
that
see
stuff.
all the artists I already know.
You think overall it's just less of that in LA right now? Or?
Yeah, well, maybe I'm just not tapped in, but it just seemed like it's everyone who's established. I already know. People don't really hang out after galleries because it's like so spread out.
Right.
And it felt like less of a community.
There's not too many young people, you know, running galleries or doing artist stuff, I feel like, in New York City at all. It used to be like that before COVID, I feel like. But now I feel like, you know, the galleries that are left is just mostly fairly established within this area still, older people and stuff
Right.
like that. I feel like the newer generation moving in is not so interested.
Well, I saw a comment today on Instagram, actually. It was like just some comment and some other thing I was looking at, but they were saying that like real, like physical communities are gone and dead. Like that's just
No.
not how the world works anymore. Except here at Solus, by the way. We're filming at Solus. Come hang your work, come to parties, come to shows. We talk about stuff.
We have a show
meetings.
this
It's
weekend.
cool.
Although I don't know.
Yeah, so we're still doing it, but you know, we're also Morgan. We're the old people now. You know, like now we're old,
Right.
so you know.
I'm cool and comfortable with that.
Yeah, me too.
It's groovy.
I can't wait.
To die. I'm not even really afraid of dying. Getting older is the scarier thing, just because you're going to be in more pain. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you got to stay young by like skating, like
Yeah.
Lizzie.
Right. I know we weren't going to really talk about it, but I understand Luigi. I have a back problem too. It's just that I don't go shooting people because I'm in pain. But
The internet is on fire with
I
it.
mean, whatchamacallit, Bad Lieutenant, the one that they did with Nicolas Cage. The whole reason that he loses his fucking mind and goes nuts is because in the beginning of the movie he hurts his back. And then like it fast forward to like him at the doctor and he's like, it's going to be like this forever? And the doctor's like, yeah. And that's when he starts drinking and doing drugs and beating people up. So, you know.
That's what Breaking Bad's about, I think.
Right.
Yeah,
Pain
same
can make you
thing.
do some fucking
Cancer.
crazy shit.
Cancer
Pain
pain.
can make you go nuts.
It's true. I need some seltzer. Excuse me. Another shout out to Brooklyn Seltzer Boys. Listen to that beautiful ASMR. Sorry.
10 hours of seltzer spraying.
It's true. But no, I mean, it's good on you for keeping up skating. That's cool. I like to see it. Do you know Shane Reuter? He's
I
like
don't
a
think
pro
so.
skater. I think his name's Reuter. He's a friend of mine who was like doing that well into his 50s. You know,
Yeah.
he's like 60 something now. I think he's at least like approaching 60, and he's still ripping it up and kicking it. So it's possible, and it's cool to see. You know.
I am influenced by the feedback. It's like I post a skate clip and it's like I get 10,000 views.
Right.
I post something for sale, it gets 200 views.
You know pork
Well, it's
chop?
because most people can appreciate skating, but not a lot of people don't have money for painting.
This is true. Do you know Pork Chop, though? He's a skater. He's an art handler, too.
I know the
but-
puppet pork chop.
yeah, no, this is a different Pork Chop. But, yeah, he's a skater in Brooklyn. Worked for a company called Fritz. Good dude. Good skater as well. But yeah, I've always been afraid to skate because I'm already in pain. I'm just like, why even bother anymore? No way.
Well, you should try it still.
How about you? You ever try skating?
No, I one wheel though.
That's right. That's.
I love one wheeling.
I would never do that either.
Yeah, it's
But,
dangerous probably, but I don't care. And when I fall and I crash on it, like it makes me feel young. I have to like recover for a week. I'm like, my knee hurts for a week, and I'm like, I can do it though. And then I recover, and then I'm like, I'm invincible.
I do kind of like falling down. Yeah.
Yeah, something about it. It's like it's like a little adversity you have to overcome.
Yeah, you feel like you're really pushing yourself.
Right. Yeah, and it's nice. It makes you feel alive.
I did see a video of a guy skateboarding on a sword recently, and I thought that was fucking awesome.
How do you skateboard on a
They
sword?
just turned a big metal sword, like a bastard sword, into added wheels to it, and the dude's fucking skating around. You could probably obviously kill yourself or kill somebody with that skateboard, which is kind of cool.
Apparently, it's cool
I mean,
now.
if security's coming after you, all you have to do is pick up your skateboard and take their head off. It's very simple.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what's next for you with your work, dude? Like I'm looking at all these like flowers and the ones I was talking about that you've been doing. You've made 57, you said?
54.
54 new paintings this
Yes.
year. Are you still showing at Kraus?
I had a show there before I left New York.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like Kraus Gallery. What do you think about them?
they're fun.
They're fun, right?
Yeah.
They're cool. They
You can't
show
say
a lot of
They've
good
been
work.
around a long time.
You can't say anything bad
I think
about
I've been
that.
going there 10 plus years.
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've seen really good stuff there, and I've seen like people I know as well as people I know that are more famous that I don't actually know.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool to see that. Do you have any other favorite galleries in the city?
That are still around?
Right.
I don't know what galleries are in the city. I think Kraus, and there's a gallery in Los Angeles called La Luz. It's been around since like the last 40 years.
Wow.
I know Matt Groening had a show there in the 90s, and I showed there. I think those are the oldest galleries I've showed at. Everything else is probably like a year.
You ever heard of that story, Bart's Dead?
No.
Crazy pasta website? It's like this whole, it doesn't exist really. Someone made it. But yeah, there's supposedly an episode where Bart dies and there's like a whole funeral and stuff like that. And
I've seen the memes.
yeah, it's really strange.
I think you meant creepy pasta.
What did I say? Crappy pasta?
That's something else. I don't know if it was crappy.
Darn it.
That's funny. But let's go back to talking about that idea of like community changing, right? You were saying you can't find the DIY scene.
Yes.
And you can't, and same, like, you know, and everyone's saying that like places are dead, like this is dead, but there doesn't seem to be like a new place. You know, people are like, oh, New York's dead, but then they're not like, oh, it's Austin now, or it's this city. They're just like, everything's dead. Has the internet ruined us?
I don't know. I feel like there still is the possibility in New York. You know, there's the Sac 6 Gallery, 188 Allen.
That's gone.
Yeah, it's gone, but still, it wasn't that long ago.
That's true. That's true. We had a great show there too. Solus, we did a pin pop up there.
Oh, cool.
Where we helped artists design like different little enamel pins, and we had like probably 24 to 40 artists involved, and all of them made their money back, at least, if not a profit.
And that
then
says quite a bit.
we're able to go home with like a big, you know, pile of free pins essentially to sell later on, which I thought was really cool. Are you still? I remember you told me, speaking about pins. I remember that story. You saying you're finding bootleg ones on eBay, and then you would just like, what do you say? You would find a bootleg pin of yours on like Alibaba for like $1.50,
Alibaba?
like for like
Yeah.
a
Sexy
do-
Ronald?
no, like a Bart or like a double-headed Mickey or something, and then you would buy it for $150 and then resell it for the markup because they were screwing you out.
Somehow it wasn't even stuff I had ever made pins of. They were taking my art, making pins of it, and then selling it for like $1.50 on Alibaba.
Wow, they were kind of doing the work for you in a way. Though.
How did you feel about that personally?
My art's been ripped off in so
Right.
many countries, so many times that I don't really care anymore.
I mean, there's only so much you could do too. So yeah, I mean,
Let's do a quick recap of all of the art thievery for you. Actually, I think that'd be interesting.
Sexy Ronald is the biggest thing.
That was the fry cart in Japan.
Yes.
Yeah, right. There's a random fry cart in Japan that had a sexy Ronald motif That was just like completely branded all Sexy Ronald. That's funny.
That was even ripped off by the Fry place across from Con Artist.
That's right. Yeah, across the street from the studio that we used to work at, the Fry place had all of a sudden like 365 Fries stickers with your Sexy Ronald.
Yeah, I gave them my stickers, and then they took my stickers and took my logo off and put their logo on.
So fucked up.
But it was more than that though, because I remember those stickers and the image that they were using had like the Ronald had tattoos all over him.
So they
Right?
that's what they did for the change. Just
Yeah,
added
they just
sailor
somebody was like
tattoos?
added tattoos on him and then changed Wizard Skull logo to their Fry restaurant logo. And
No
I actually
shame.
I went in there to like threaten them for you. I was like, you better knock this off, blah blah blah. And then they emailed me back and they're like, we're so sorry, we didn't know. We were working with this other guy who did it. But the weirdest thing to me about that was after that whole thing, I was like, well, what is this weird like bootleg tattooed Sexy Ronald? And then I was in VR chat. And somebody had a Sexy Ronald avatar in
Holy
VR chat, but he had the tattoos on him as well, like so, like the bootleg one. And I was like, this is so funny. This is gonna have to, this is gonna be in history books. Like this is gonna be in art history books.
There's not
where
going to
they're
be
like,
books in the future. What are you talking about, man?
yeah. Okay, this is gonna be in the art history PDF files.
There you go.
Where
Be in that readable holographic.
yeah, in the hollow disc.
I'll tell you where it's not going to be. It's not going to be in microfiche.
I think.
Remember microfiche?
Yeah, microfiche is great.
So
but I think
awesome.
there's gonna be like a record of like how to spot a bootleg Sexy Ronald. He has tattoos.
Well, one cool thing about it is because it's gone viral, and then my name gets detached, so it's just like a meme people see. And so many artists over the world have done like their own rendition or their own toys without even knowing like who I am or anything.
Do you like that, or do you think that's to piss you off a little bit?
No, it's cool to see when
Yeah.
people like sculpt and make their own toys or their own images.
You can buy an official one though, right?
Yes.
They're still available.
No, they're sold out.
Damn, yeah, you got. If you ever see an official Wizard Skull toy, I guess first DM them to make sure it's actually official, and then buy it because it will be valuable. I have one. I have a little 5-inch Sexy Ronald on my desk.
Aw.
Yeah, along with a couple of those. Red King in leather. That kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple of his Mutopia toys next to your Sexy Ronald.
Have you seen like a Sexy Ronald dildo yet?
No.
Well, I guess you know what to do next.
You should team up with the Beast people, the ones that make those tentacle dildos.
I don't know them, but I wish there were real beast people that I can befriend. Like that live in a cave and like you can hire for low pay to scare people. Beast.
Low pay? Why are you trying to screw over the Beast people,
Remember
Morgan?
the movie Beastmaster?
Yeah, but you should pay your Beast people properly. That's messed up, dude.
I'll take care of my beast people. But I'll never forget when I was a kid and I saw Beastmaster, there was this one scene where these evil demons would like turn you into milk. I swear to God. They like wrap their wings around you and you'd be like, and all of a sudden they like open up their shit and you're milk. And that used to fuck me up, man. I don't know why. I just, imagine being turned into milk like within a minute.
It wasn't milk.
No, I don't think it was milk either.
God, my mom is such a liar. My
You're
mom is
sitting there
such a
pouring your
liar.
cereal, like traumatized.
I was completely traumatized.
When's Wizard Skull breakfast cereal going to come out? We need that.
I don't know.
Well, Snoop
I
has
would
his
like an
own. You
official
gotta do it too.
McDonald's collab is what I would really like.
You honestly deserve one. They gave that I don't even remember who the artists were, but they had some like cool contemporary artist collab with McDonald's, and I saw that. I was like, that's bullshit. It should
Well,
be
they're
Wizard
not
Skull.
even really utilizing Ronald McDonald at this point at all. I mean, like throughout history of McDonald's, like I remember as a kid in the 80s, man, like Ronald was in every McDonald's commercial. I remember there was one for Christmas and he's skating around. I don't know if you guys remember that one. But yeah, he hasn't been used.
It's true. They should bring him out of retirement.
The fuck?
I think he died. I think that's why.
I mean, you have to have the other side, the yin yang. You got the King, Burger King, and you need Ronald McDonald. I guess he's still alive. He just goes under the name Carrot Top.
Oh, man.
Well, I
Love
think
that
it's
fucking guy.
Grimace's turn to shine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grimace is all over the McDonald's Instagram. He's the
Right.
star now.
Yeah, the Grimace birthday shake. I liked it. I thought it was
What
delicious.
is it? What is like? Does it?
It was like
grape?
berry. It was like very, very faintly berry flavored. It was almost just like a vanilla one, but it was sort of berry flavored.
Maybe it's Grimace milk. Maybe it's his milk.
I'm gonna throw up.
You know.
Oh my god!
But that means there's just way more protein. It's a health shake.
Ew.
I
Why
got
is
the
that
Grimace
disgusting?
Crocs.
You got the Grimace
Yeah, the
Crocs?
official McDonald's Grimace Crocs. I got those.
Dude, I'm jealous. I want the 7-Eleven Crocs. Those are sick. No, they're like slides. They're like slides.
Yeah.
7-Eleven slides. That's good branding. I think it's gonna be like Idiocracy. We're all gonna be like dripped out at the Met Ball with like 7-Eleven slides and like a Grimace coat. Hell yeah.
That's fine by me, I guess. Not like we have a choice moving forward.
True.
I think RFK should just walk around with no shirt. Like then he'd be more.
He's pretty
believable.
ripped, isn't he?
He's fucking jacked, man. He's like a little He-Man toy.
Yeah.
You know, if he walked around and was, if he was talking about something, have a conference, I would take him more seriously if he didn't have a shirt because he's ripped. So, like, I would be like, well, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's got big muscles.
Yep, we're there.
He's doing push-ups.
We're there.
You know? He collects animal heads. Screw it.
Do you have any? That's a good. Collections are interesting. He collects animal heads, like taxidermy.
No, he did. There's all these stories. I think he found like a
hunting?
roadkill, like a dead bear upstate, brought it back, and for some reason thought it'd be funny to just like throw it in the middle of Central Park. You didn't hear that story?
Oh yeah, I did that.
What?
I really like that
Yeah.
because it seems like a weird artist project.
It does actually. You know what? Much respect. At first, I'm like, he's crazy, but now that you put it, shine it under that light, you know what? I'm a little bit impressed. He did something with like a fucking whale head to something from the beach.
Really?
Yeah, he collects like carcasses and stuff.
That's kind of cool.
I don't know what he did to the bear before he threw it into the Central Park.
Do you guys remember that gold cube in Central Park?
No.
No, it was like a sort of crypto project thing where this artist was like some ridiculous amount of money, like millions of dollars worth of gold, like pressed into a solid cube and just put it in the middle of Central Park.
I mean, I guess physically no one can actually steal that.
No, I mean people would try. I mean, my first thought was like, well, get a chisel and go
Right,
find it.
right,
Right,
of course.
The gold's soft to just like pull it off.
Right.
But no, they had like security over there. To me, it was like the embodiment of like the kind of shallow, annoying, like just pointless art that gets associated with crypto a lot. Instead of cool things like your diaper dog projects, which I actually thought was really fun. But this cube, the whole point was it's just there. You could go
What
see
year was
it.
this? When was this?
That was just not that long ago, like a few years ago, and it was just there overnight. And they had
Just
a guard.
one night.
It was there for like maybe a couple nights, but then they took it, and of course they made an NFT out of it, and then they had some celebrity packed dinner about it, and they brought it there, and then it was over. But it was just seemed like a total waste. And the smart thing though was I don't think the artist ever actually like bought the gold. Like he basically made an agreement with like a jewelry company or something, somebody who deals with gold, to like borrow it in order in time to smash into a cube, do this publicity stunt, and launch this like crypto thing, and then like cash out and then just return the gold. So they like made more money. They made more money than the gold is worth with this fake crypto stuff because of the hype of just showing. And it was just so stupid. Because the thing was actually not like, it doesn't take a lot of gold to be worth millions and millions. So like you go there and it's just this unimpressive little cube just sitting there. It was really
I feel like
weird.
if I saw that, I'd just get like slightly frustrated.
I think a lot of people felt the same way.
No.
I'm surprised you didn't hear about that one. There's so much other stuff going on.
Yeah. Like Luigi in Central Park.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't, you mean the lookalike contest? That was in Washington Square Park.
That's right. A lot of things are happening now. The backpack, the company, I don't remember what the name of the company is, but the backpack that he had, the gray one, like sales are through the freaking roof right now.
We can talk about that more after this break. Stay with us, and we'll be right back with artist Wizard Skull.
Is this Solas?
How can I help you?
So I ordered this print online with this file here of me looking like a young stud. I'm really not happy with it. My wife started crying. Can you make this look better?
Is this a zip disk? Don't worry, we're literal wizards.
Literal wizards.
How did you do that? That's amazing.
Solas Studio provides image enhancement, fine art printing, consultation services, design services, long-term art support, business cards, flyers, lookbook.
And we are back with Wizard Skull, who has just moved out of his Brooklyn studio, and we're here chatting about New York and what it's like to actually be an artist in New York, or as you kind of are now, nomadic.
Yes,
But nomadic because you're in demand because you're a New York artist.
I think so.
You think so? Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so
yeah.
too. Was that
Like,
like big fish, small pond kind of thing?
Well, I just came back from LA and I went to visit my parents in like small farm town. Could be any town USA. And there was a craft fair there. I was like, we got to go to this craft fair. We went to the craft fair. After I left, I was like kind of depressed.
Why?
Just there was like 100 people set up the craft fair selling like their paintings, their like, their things they made. No one was buying anything. Everything was so cheap. And I was like, damn, if I never left my hometown, that would be me. I'd be sitting there like with $20 paintings, like with no one buying them.
Were they good?
No.
Maybe that's their problem. Maybe they should just make better art. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I think that's part of why you need to come to the city. Like you need to be seeing other art in person, because when you're just looking at 2-inch photos on the internet, it's really hard to gauge how good some things are.
Yeah,
And I think meeting so many artists, even working full-time crappy minimum wage jobs here, you still like everyone working there is trying to be an artist.
that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like I always asked when I was working as a barista, I would always ask my coworkers, like, do you have any like typical barista alter egos? Are you a painter or like an actor or comedian? And like 8 out of 10 would always say yes and have something they were trying to do. So I agree with you there. You're Batman?
I'm Batman. Now, for a long time, I've lived in Bushwick for 14 years. But anyways, yeah, it just keeps on getting harder and harder to do things in Brooklyn, I feel like, art-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my personal experience, unfortunately. I feel like the people in my area have changed. I live right off the Myrtle Broadway, JM, and it's just a different crew.
Well, I used to live
Younger, more entitled crew
Younger, more entitled?
that have less interest in art and performance.
Are you sure that's not just you getting old and bitter?
No. No, they suck. I hate that. I never thought I'd say that. For the longest time, like, I'm Mr. New York City. I'm Mr. Brooklyn. This is awesome. But, like, now I don't want to represent it. It sounds horrible.
It's
I
like
mean,
you
I
sound like
feel
that meme that's like, no, it can't. Am I out of touch? No, it's the children. They are wrong.
I did my time.
Yeah.
Did my time. Yeah, no, it's funny how that happens, the generation to generation, touch it. But now here I am, full circle. I'm like, these kids are annoying. They don't even care. They're just obnoxious. Not all of them, just 99% of them.
You got to get your shit together. Come live in Manhattan. You got to move to Manhattan. That's the age progression, right?
We got to make the Lower East Side cool again.
I think the Lower East Side is actually cheaper than Brooklyn now.
I have heard that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also riddled with what you're talking about, I think. Yeah, I don't know. People are always talking about like the Disneyfication of New York and how it's gotten, more like a playground for the rich, and all the cool shit's going away because there's not enough poor people like, trying to make cool things happen.
I feel that way.
Yeah, I
feel
mean,
that way.
I don't know. Like I guess I feel that way just because like Con Artist was that, right?
Maybe there'll
To
be a
me.
resurgence. Maybe something will happen. It'll come back. I don't know what it will take. I'm hopeful.
I think
but
it's there though. I think it's just like we're not in it at the moment.
you
I
gotta
think
scratch
we
a
just
lot of
can't
the
see
crust
it.
off to see it.
What about like I love Wonderville.
Wonderville is one of the last awesome places to go. But then again, that's you start to think about it. You're like, oh shit, that's the only kind of place that's like that.
Not
That's such a-
necessarily. It's the only one we know about. I think the city's too fucking big. We can't say. Have you been to Wonderville, Wizzy?
No.
No, it's sick.
awesome.
It's like it's a video game haven where it's like a bar that has all open play video games, but every single one of these video games most of them anyway, are like unique, one of a kind, and like made like custom cabinets, and they're made by local game designers. And they have like play test nights, and they do all these concerts, and they have a lot of like cool community programming. It's like probably the coolest place in the city.
They
in
do
my
a lot of
opinion.
VR stuff there. You should.
Oh
do
yeah,
some
yeah.
VR
I need to go
stuff.
back there more. It's in Brooklyn though, and now that I'm getting older, I'm on the Upper East Side. So
Like
you know.
Brooklyn, bah humbug.
Yeah, no, I totally turned into that asshole. Like when I was living in Brooklyn, I was like, why don't my Manhattan friends come out and visit me? They're fucking stuck up. They suck. And now I'm in Manhattan, and I'm like, I don't want to cross the water. I'm a dickhead now, but no, I think it's still there. You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of
think it's
reason
still out
not to
there.
want to use the MTA.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening.
How do you feel getting back to the subway world, dealing with that shit?
You know, you have to drive everywhere in LA, so I actually like the subway.
Oh, right, yeah.
I mean, the subway's like why I moved here, dude. Like, my choices were LA or New York because I was going to wherever it's good to be an artist, right? And that's like pretty much the two places it's good to be an artist in the country. I had already grown up in San Diego. I'd already grew up in Southern California, and I love trains and public transit. So here I am. I don't mind the weather either.
Yeah, well, I'm used to New York weather. I've been here my whole life, never lived anywhere else, so I'm used to it. Although now the winter starts in December rather than September.
Yeah, global weirding.
Oh, totally. I remember when, September is when you go back to school, and I remember wearing my big, puffy Knicks starter jacket, and that pain in the ass Vinny who made fun of me because the Bulls would always win. And that really made me upset.
Are you a sports guy?
No,
No?
I don't care about sports.
Not at all, yeah. No, I don't either.
I think it's healthier to not. I get really stressed out when the Knicks lose. Like, I get sick over it. Like, I'm really upset.
I'm like, who are the Knicks again? What do they play? They play hockey?
No, football.
Okay. No, I used to think that, there's like that stereotype that artists are not into sports, but then I met that Jeremy dude at Con Artist, and he made a whole like career out of making sports art. And it was smart. He made this art that not a lot of artists were trying to make because a lot of them were like, fuck sports, I don't like sports. And then he did a good job at marketing and like going and getting it in the face of the players, getting it in the face of the fans. And then, of course, who are the people who have a ton of money? Big sports stars.
is true.
We
This
were
is
talking
true.
about that today, about how something like $700 million a year or whatever.
More.
Some crazy number.
Oh, no. Ronaldo, is that his
Yeah.
name? He makes $200 million a year. That's fucking insane.
That is pretty crazy.
And Musk just hit 400 billion, I think, which makes me believe that before he passes away, that man will probably be worth $1 trillion plus.
Yeah, I feel like the numbers
my
don't
guess.
even mean anything. So I saw a post from an artist friend of mine, Bianca. Shout out to Bianca. She was like, remember how they're pushing the B? Like they've been pushing billionaire culture on us for like the last 5 years, where they're like, the B is really important. Like, ooh, who's a billionaire? Taylor Swift is now a billionaire. Ariana Grande's going to be a billionaire. And it's just like a thing that's like nobody asked for.
How much is Trump worth again? I forgot what is. It doesn't really matter, but I think he's shooting to just make as much as possible before he goes.
I think it's telling and funny that the one thing that Trump would not allow people to make fun of him about on the roast was how actually not having any money. He was like, don't talk about how much money I have. Everything else you can talk about. So
It's very
maybe
important
he
to
has
that
no
man.
money. I don't know.
His hair is not golden anymore. He's going
No.
with the white. You see, it's getting wider and wider and wider.
Yeah, he seemed to like not get aged as much as regular presidents, but now he's hitting it. The last 4 years of not being president have
After
aged
you're
him.
almost assassinated, you get a second wind.
Maybe.
You're like, holy shit! You decrease like 10 years. You're like Benjamin Buttons now. By next year, he'll be like 15 years old. He'll be like hanging out with his son.
You tend to kind of avoid politics in your art, right?
I try to avoid any news of the day.
I can't blame you.
I feel like a lot of unimportant things can capture the attention of the world in the moment. And then a year goes by and you realize that wasn't actually that important.
Oh yeah.
Like one thing I always think of when like Game of Thrones was big, I remember my feed on Instagram was flooded of all these people making when Hodor's name was Hold the Door.
Right.
Hundreds of artists were making art about that.
Really?
And yeah,
That's-
so many artists. And now I'm thinking like, what that art is like so pointless now.
Yeah, you're right. Like, who's gonna buy a Hodor painting now?
Hodor.
You can barely remember it. That is funny. Yeah, there is that tendency to like jump on the bandwagon when things get hot.
Yeah, and I think that also in culture, a lot of horrible things are always present in the moment, and it really takes time for society to decide what we're actually going to keep relevant.
Right.
So, like, you might look back nostalgic on like 80s movies, or it's because we only remember the good ones,
Right.
not what was popular at the time.
But then you get like a Mac and Me, where Mac and Me is kind of Mac and Me has lasted the test of time for being
Yes.
so bad, for being like a
Disturbing little bastard.
bootleg ET sponsored by McDonald's.
Right.
Again, McDonald's, dude. This whole country is just McDonald's. Like, actually,
It is.
it's McDonald's in a country disguise.
I saw a picture of McDonald's in Poland, and it's like vaporwave. Like every piece of it lights up in a different neon color.
Hell
They're
yeah.
just like this rainbow that lights up. But we'll have to definitely throw that up here because it's absolutely amazing. Like it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Imagine walking into a fucking vaporwave McDonald's.
Oh, it's like my dream
I
life.
yeah, well, there you go.
Okay, well, I try not to get political on this show too because I like to much more talk about art and our artists
and McDonald's.
But I will say, if I were president, I would make every American citizen work at McDonald's for 2 years, like the Israeli army does for serving in the military.
Really? They have to work at McDonald's?
Yeah, no, that's what you would have to do if I was the president of the United
Oh
States.
shit! I was talking.
You would have to work at McDonald's because it is a national institution.
And you never worked there, right?
No,
You didn't. And you no,
Shamefully,
I'm
I
the
did
only
not.
one. I'm the only one at Woodbury Commons. And I was explaining before that I didn't realize that you have to work weekends.
What kind of jobs have both of you guys held in the city to continue being an artist and living here? I've been a barista. I've done the weirdest thing I've done probably is like a cigarette girl tray at Webster Hall. Like during a concert, they like strapped this tray on me and I had to go into the pit with a mag light and sell like $5 water and beer out of this heavy ass tray and like push myself through the crowd. It was fucking horrible.
Well, I was a gigolo when I first moved here.
Was?
I just don't have the strength anymore.
Aw.
But I remember also going back to McDonald's. I remember I got a paycheck once. I think it was like $5.33 or something. I was like, wow, this is awesome.
Making the money.
I was like impressed by myself that I could make such little money on a real printed out check. I think the check was probably worth more, like the paper was worth more than the amount on it.
What about you, Izzy? Did you ever do any day jobs?
I had 50 plus full-time jobs
Damn.
before I just made my art. My last job, I worked at Museum of Modern Art as a security guard.
That's a good one though. 'Cause
That's
it's
awesome.
it's in the vein, you know.
It gave me insight to the art world. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, very, very, very educational. I also worked at Doc Martens at the Woodbury Common, which was like 5 billion stores there. And it was late and we were closing up. And the manager went to count the money in the back, and I was just like playing with a pen, using it as a drumstick, ba-da-ba-ba, near the computer. And all of a sudden, the ball pen flew out, the ball of the pen, and ink splattered like all over the screen. I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like desperately trying to wash it off the keys and wash it off the screen. And it's just getting worse because I'm using water. And I'm like, genius idea. I'm going to use water repellent spray for the leather. So I spray that and it's finally coming off. I'm like, yes, yes. And I finally get everything off and she walks out and she's like, is everything okay? And I turn around and I'm like, everything's going fine. And she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, what? She's like, you got ink all over your face. And I had like no idea. I was just like rubbing it all over my face. She was totally blown away, had no clue. And it was just me standing there with ink all over my face.
Like accidental blackface.
Yeah,
You'd
I
be
didn't mean to
canceled
do
now.
it. Well, this is Doc Martens.
Oh, so you're fine. I don't know. The worst thing, I had a story like that working at American Apparel was my first job in the city at $8.50 an hour in the basement in Chelsea in like the 20s. Not the 2020s, but the streets, you know.
I mean, still, if you're
20th
a
Street.
silkscreen printer with shirts, they will all say those are the best blanks to print on.
At the time, I was flirting with this girl, trying to show her a trick with like burning hand sanitizer in your hand, like at the front counter. And so I'm like lighting a little pool of hand sanitizer on fire and going like, check this out, isn't that cool? And then I go to like smash it and rub it around to like put it out. And a little flaming bit like fell off into a paper pile.
Oh, no.
And started a small fire on the desk.
That's
and I put it out pretty quickly. But then the next day I came to work and everyone was gathered around the security camera footage, like just laughing their ass off at me, like almost burning down the American Apparel.
Damn, thank God there were no cameras at Blockbuster when I worked there, man, because I
you'd
stole
probably
so
be in
much
jail.
candy. I remember I stole what is it called? One of Primus's albums. I think it was called Sub Pop or something. I don't remember what it is. Something Pop. Great album, by the way.
That one you can't remember?
The one I can't remember. I mean, all Primus albums are awesome, obviously.
Sub Pop's a record label.
You're right, it is. It's
Could be the
something
name of it
close
too.
to that.
But Wizzy, what was the least art related job you had out of those 50? What was like the most like off the mark one?
All of them, pretty much.
All right, I think we gotta go. My voice is cracking out. I gotta go get
Yeah,
some
my mom's
Nair
calling me
Crew.
for dinner. I heard the
right.
bell.
Say goodbye.
Bye.